1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Darius, your work is also informed with an understanding of art as a form of social capital, as a sort of a beneficial engagement in terms of thought and of people coming together. So for this Biennale of Sydney, you invited artists and their parents, and artists.
No, I proposed to come parents to listen to the curator, which will introduce what the kids do there in Biennale, like meeting about parents in the school.
When I was doing a studio visit with him, he was the only artist who did not talk to me about his work. He gave me an object to hold. So the studio visit was me holding this object, which was made for the purpose of the studio visit to be held. Therefore, I was holding this object.
What was it?
It was a sort of a stick. It was a sort of a stick.
And after the legend was, after they come to the Biennale, they feel artists themselves, artists as well.
Darius, I was at the parents' meeting. Did you go into that with any concept of what you were expecting as an outcome?
Oh, it would be very difficult to have one. I can only tell that the meeting was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yes. You were there.
I was there.
What do you think about it?
It was interesting. The parents spoke, were very articulate about their relationships with their children, which was quite interesting, I thought. But none of them in the end really accepted any sort of premise that they were artists themselves or had any responsibility for the fact that their children were artists. I think there was one that said they provided some access to resources and they talked about their children drawing and having an aptitude to art when they were young. But none of them really took on the idea that perhaps they were artists themselves.
This is good, because I didn't want it to change their personalities. Although I don't believe it didn't happen. But I like one thing in this: it was real. It doesn't mean anything. It was totally real, and I really like real things because they are practical. Speaking about art, if it's real object or it's maybe objectless, if it's real, I think it adds something practicism to that.
And Carolyn struggled with that. She said perhaps we have to redefine what art is for them.
What art? Yes, exactly, because the art in these times, was very different from.
So let's go back to your failure, potential failure. Well, we're trying to convince these people here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that they're artists and that their art and that their children are somehow artworks. Does that mean we need to change the notion that they have of what art is in order for them to... I have a proposition. How do you feel about the artists, your son, being in the Biennale and reading the papers in this, every 2 papers is about Stuart's piece?
Fantastic.
Okay, let's get into the narcissistic, that's part of it. So what is that feeling that you get? What is fantastic?
It's other people recognising Stuart's potential and what he does. So, and especially with this anger workshop, I mean, there's so much anger in the world today.
Now, so what are your feelings of having the anger workshop in the exhibition? How do you relate to the Biennale? Do you feel that somehow you are in the Biennale? You are part of the Biennale?
I feel we're part of it through
your
invitation and Darius, and I would look at what he's doing as a failure. I wouldn't even go for an honourable draw. I consider it successful because it's opened my eyes up to the art world further. If there's any families there, they're young got young children, but there's definitely artists out there, and they might be taking Darius' concept further. And I think that parents may just provide the canvas and the materials for our artists.
But I think this has been a great success in terms of it allows those people to challenge their own thoughts about, you know, how would my mother think about what I do, or my father think about what I do, or am I the product of what they wanted, or am I the product of
What they did.
rebelling against what they wanted, or am I the product of them being supportive of it?
So how do you think people become artists?
They are made, definitely, from my experience, yeah.
So do you have to have parents who are interested in art?
You have to have some abnormal situation, maybe a child. Because being forced to become an artist. Well, this is a joke, but definitely you need definitely you need something, of course. Maybe later. There are some conditions, but as I told you before, this is not really being an artist.
So are you more of a facilitator or a producer?
You have to have a really twisted character, I think.
You have a twisted character.
Yeah.
So you weren't interested in documenting this gathering of people?
Oh, there was a few photos, of course.
So
Other
there was
events?
an idea of some sort of trace and record of the event so that other people could think about this.
I not really like this type of events to plan. This is as an art piece, or to produce an art piece, because it's more important to produce something which has its own way to survive or to continue or to be. Sometimes some events get art scene becomes an art, or so-called art. I don't know. It's hard to all the time to label something art, or delabel maybe art as well.
Okay. Anders and Andreas, this type of art making and conception of art has become very common over the last 10 years. What do you see as this attitude to art? Why is it so important? And why have so many artists actually embraced this type of art?
It's this distinction between life and art, maybe, that people have tried to make, and they're very intertwined. Yeah.
Well, that intersection of life and art
Yeah.
was the modernist project, that there would be no distinction between life and art, that everything would have an art aspect. So that's a utopian project.
Definitely. And I guess it continues.
Yeah. Okay.